Most killers are afraid of getting caught, but this one wanted to be caught. He wrote letters to the police, confessing his crimes. He wanted the police to read his words, follow his clues, and maybe understand him. But no matter how close the police got, he was always one step ahead of them. And to this day, no one knows who he really was. It began on December 20th, 1968. On this day, a young couple went out on a date. They wanted privacy, so they drove toward Lover's Lane on Lake Herman Road in California. But 17-year-old David Arthur Faraday and 16-year-old Betty Lou Jensen had no idea that a stranger was following them. As soon as they parked near Lake Herman, another car pulled up behind them. A man stepped out and suddenly opened fire on their car. Trying to save their lives, Jensen and David attempted to run. Jensen managed to get out of the car, but the killer shot Faraday in the head. The assailant then chased Jensen, firing 6 shots from behind, 5 of which hit her. After carrying out this horrifying attack, the man disappeared into the darkness of the night, and from here, something began that no one could stop. After committing the first brutal crime, the stranger returned 6 months later, July 4th, 1969. It was America's Independence Day. 22-year-old Darlene Ferrin and 19-year-old Michael Mageau had stepped out together. Suddenly, they noticed a strange car following them. To escape, they drove toward the Blue Rock Springs parking area near Lake Herman Road, but the mysterious car followed them there as well. At first, the man sat quietly in his car and then drove away. The couple felt relieved, but 5 minutes later, the car returned and blocked their path. The man shined a flashlight into their car. The couple thought he might be a police officer. Mageau rolled down the window, and without saying a word, the stranger opened fire. After carrying out the attack, he fled, leaving behind no clues. 3 teenagers nearby entered the parking lot, saw the injured couple, and helped them. Police arrived at the scene, but 20 minutes later, Ferrin died at the hospital, while Mageau survived and described the unknown killer. But what happened next is hard to believe. That same night at 12:40 a.m., the Vallejo Police Department received an anonymous phone call made from a payphone. A voice said, "I want to report a double murder. If you go 1 mile east on Columbus Parkway to the public park, you will find kids in a brown car. They were shot with a 9mm Luger. I also killed those kids last year. Goodbye." And this was the first call made by the unknown killer to the police. Almost 1 month later, on August 1st, 1969, 3 different newspaper agencies received letters written by an unknown person. In those letters, he confessed to the Lake Herman murders and the Blue Rock Springs attack. To prove his claims, the killer included specific details: which bullets were used, how many shots were fired, and where the victims were hit. Along with these letters, there was also a coded cipher. The writer claimed that his identity was hidden inside this cipher. He demanded that the codes be printed on the front page of every newspaper, and if they refused, he would continue his killing spree. Because of this threat, the cipher was published, but alongside it, the Vallejo police chief stated, "We're not satisfied that the letter was written by the murderer." He asked the killer to provide more details to prove his identity. In response, on August 4th, a letter was received by the Examiner, which read, "Dear Editor, this is the Zodiac speaking." This was the first time the killer used this nickname. The very next day, August 5th, a couple managed to decode the cipher published in the newspaper, and what it revealed was disturbing. The cipher did not reveal the Zodiac's identity, but it said, "I like killing people because it is more fun than killing wild game in the forest." He also wrote that the people he killed would become his slaves in the afterlife. After this cipher, everything remained quiet for nearly 2 months, but on September 27, 1969, the killer returned, and this time, his intentions were different. On that day, 2 students from Pacific Union College, Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard, went to Lake Berryessa for a picnic. Shepard noticed that a man had been watching them for quite some time. After a while, the same man approached them, stood silently, and suddenly pointed a gun at them. He said, "I escaped from prison after killing a guard, and I need money and a car to travel to Mexico." Terrified, they handed over the car keys and money. They thought he might let them go, but something else was about to happen. The Zodiac put the gun away, then moved behind them and began stabbing them repeatedly with a knife. After the attack, he went to their car, wrote a message on the door, and disappeared once again. In the message, the Zodiac wrote the location, date, time, and the weapon used, along with his symbol. Hearing the victim's screams, a nearby fisherman and his son rushed to help them. Both were taken to the hospital. C.E. Celia Shepard fought for her life, but eventually died, while Brian survived and described the entire incident. That same evening, at 7:40 p.m., the police department received another call, and just like before, the Zodiac described the entire crime himself. Until now, there was one thing common in all of Zodiac's attacks. First, most of the victims were young couples. Second, the attacks happened at night. Third, most attacks occurred near Water Fourth. Zodiac always reported his own crimes, as if he was challenging the authorities. But this time, that pattern was about to change. Exactly 2 weeks after the Lake Berryessa case, on October 11th, 1969, around 9:40 p.m., in downtown San Francisco, Zodiac hailed a cab. The cab was driven by Paul Stein, a cab driver. Zodiac gave the driver a destination, but the driver had no idea who was sitting behind him. As soon as they reached Washington and Maple Street, Zodiac shot Stein in the head with a handgun. Paul died on the spot, and after that, Zodiac tore a piece of Stein's shirt and took it with him. 2 teenagers from a nearby building witnessed the entire scene. Police arrived, and the teens described everything. They had seen Zodiac's face clearly, but the police made a critical mistake. The teenagers described Zodiac as a white man, but by mistake, it was broadcast as a black man. Because of this error, when police searched the area, they actually encountered Zodiac himself, but due to the wrong description, they failed to recognize him. And once again, Zodiac slipped away right in front of them. With the help of the teenage witnesses, police artists created a composite sketch of Zodiac. A few days later, Zodiac sent more letters to newspaper agencies, in which he described the murder of Paul Stein in detail. And as proof, he included a piece of Stein's shirt. This time, he also threatened to attack a school bus, spreading fear across the entire city. But that attack never happened. A few days later, on October 22, 1969, the Oakland Police Department received a call from someone claiming to be Zodiac. He demanded to speak live on television with well-known attorney Melvin Belly. During the broadcast, the caller identified himself as Sam, but his answers were confusing and inconsistent. Later, the truth came out. This call was not made by Zodiac. It was traced back to a mental patient at Napa State Hospital. After this, on November 8th, Zodiac sent another cipher to the Chronicle newspaper. This cipher was so complex that it remained unsolved for nearly 50 years. Finally, on December 5th, 2020, 3 American engineers used a program to decode it, but the cipher revealed nothing significant, except that Zodiac clarified he was not the one who made the Sam call on TV. For the next 4 years, Zodiac continued sending letters to newspapers. His letters were strange. Sometimes he described his murders, and other times he sent bizarre movie reviews. On January 29, 1974, a letter from Zodiac was received. In it, he wrote a score, Me 37, SFPD 0, meaning Zodiac claimed he had killed 37 people. while the San Francisco Police Department had caught none. However, according to police reports, Zodiac exaggerated his kill count. Only 5 murders have been confirmed to match his methods. Zodiac's terror spread across the entire world, and many suspects were investigated. One of the main suspects was Arthur Lee Allen, but neither his handwriting nor fingerprints matched Zodiac's. In total, more than 50 suspects were investigated, but none fully matched the profile. The Zodiac case shocked the entire world, but even today, no one knows who he really was or why he committed these murders. Was he just an ordinary man or a mastermind?